Okay. Uh, Thank you, Venkat. My namaskars to all the eminent academics who are participating in this webinar today. We are passing through some very difficult times in the country and also in the entire world. We all know about the pandemic that is causing a lot of havoc in the world in terms of in terms of lives, in terms of livelihoods, economy. The entire world is in the throes of this major healthcare challenge. We in India have been relatively better placed compared to many countries in the world, although the actual numbers look a little higher today. Like, we are around 300,000, we are closing in towards 300,000 number in terms of infections today. But looking at the size of the country, and also if you analyze the spread of the virus, we can safely conclude that we are relatively better placed in dealing with this pandemic. A country with 1.3 billion population is still able to contain it to about 300,000 infections, out of which about 100,000 have been cured, and death rates also have been relatively low in our country. This is largely because of three important factors, I would say. One is, of course, the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the timely actions that he took of imposing lockdown on the country starting from 25th of March. That has certainly helped in containing the spread of the virus. It is another matter that some eminent people today argue in retrospect that no, you should not have done that. You should have given 3-4 days time for the migrant workers to go back to their places. Then only you should have announced the lockdown. What they probably don't know or don't realize, or knowingly also probably they do it with a view to scoring political points. Whatever is the reason, certain facts we all should know that in India, the total size of the migrant workers is 139 million. That is around 14 crore. Out of that, about 5-6 crores are migrants within the states. They migrate within the state, they don't go to another state. Whereas about 80 million, 8 crore people go to another state, leave their home state and go to a far off place in search of livelihood, in search of jobs. Imagine with about 1 crore, or probably not even 1 crore, initially it was about 25-30 lakh people. When they set out to go back to their homes in their home states, how much confusion took place in the country, you all have seen. Imagine for a moment, government giving 4 days time to people to go back to their villages. Would it have been humanly possible to manage that kind of a movement of the migrant workers in the country? Was it really, should it have been allowed at the time of the pandemic? That is why what Prime Minister had done was to immediately ask people to stop all sorts of movements, stick to their homes. He had asked the state governments and also non-government organizations to take care of the migrants and the people who do not have livelihoods and jobs. A lot of good work has happened through states. Of course, state governments have provided food and shelter. NGOs have done a lot of good work. No, our party, the BJP, has itself fed 19 crore people in the last about 2 months' time. We have given them food, rations, and many other things. Not just the BJP, the RSS, Seva Bharati, many other organizations, charitable organizations, religious bodies, temples, mosques, all of them have chipped in and tried to help the migrants. That is the reason why initially, out of the 8 crore migrants, only a very small fraction of them decided to set out by foot to reach their destinations. Ideally, we all should have tried to persuade them to stick to their places. But not necessarily because of any economic reasons, but because of an anxiety, because of certain fear, some of them have decided to undertake this very perilous, very difficult journey back home. When things came, reached a very difficult situation, government has immediately ordered the state governments to arrange for their transport. Uttar Pradesh government, Gujarat government, they have done fabulous job in managing to arrange trains and buses to transport these migrant workers. Some states did not cooperate. For example, states like Bengal refused to take back the migrants. Majority of the migrants come from states like Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. Bengal, for a long time, even Bihar have refused to take the migrants, saying that they will, with them, they carry the virus. So those were the kind of situations that the government had to face. But even after that, the railways, the bus services, all of them have played a very important role. Railways itself has transported close to 6 million migrant workers, 60 lakh migrant workers from their workplaces to their home states. Why I'm mentioning this is that we have a leadership which has the vision, which has the commitment, which has the courage of conviction. So it took timely decisions. But the second reason is the administration. The same administration which we all used to criticize as inefficient, as corrupt. The same healthcare establishment, the same doctor, the same nurses, the same sanitary workers, the same police, the same bureaucracy have done wonders. Maybe because you have a leadership that has inspired them rightly, but the healthcare establishment, the law and order machinery, the entire administration has played a very key role in managing this virus. And friends, finally, the 1.3 billion Indians, with some exceptions. I know what are those exceptions. You all also know the exceptions. But largely the country demonstrated unity, discipline, and a lot of commitment in the fight against corona. Without the support of the ordinary people, probably government would not have succeeded in managing it in such a nice manner. Like, today when I say it is contained, the numbers seem high, but they are confined to 7-8 states. 2/3 of the country is breathing easy today. That is because we could contain it in the initial phases. It was possible because of the support of the people, the administration, and also the vision of our leadership. We will overcome this healthcare challenge. We will overcome least bruised when compared to other countries in the world. But then another challenge is staring at us. That is going to be the economic challenge. The economic fallout of this pandemic, this lockdown, is going to be serious. And again, it's not going to be confined to any one country. It's not that only India will be affected. The entire world is going to face a very bleak next 1 or 2 years in terms of economy. The projections of the international organizations are that the growth rates will plummet by 6 percentage points, 7 percentage points in developed countries. That means those countries like America, will be registering negative growth rates, like -5% growth rate, -4% GDP. Whereas in India's case, luckily, the projections are still not that disappointing or not that disheartening. The projections still put India's growth in positive figures only. We are likely to register 1.5 to 2% growth rate in the immediate year, that is 2021. And from 2021 onwards, we will be again picking up with growth rates like 8 to 9%. Now, just as we have successfully tackled the healthcare challenge with the support of the administration and also the people, We should be able to overcome the economic challenge also in a very united way. The effort of the government and the Prime Minister is to make sure that just as we are overcoming this pandemic least bruised, we should overcome the economic challenge also least affected. The economic packages that the government has announced in the last 1 month are directed at ensuring that, number one, we should be able to help the poor and downtrodden people in the country who are the worst affected during the pandemic. But also, secondly, we should create a kind of vigor in the economic system once again. If you don't inject vigor into it, it will collapse for a very long time. For its revival, it will take a very long time. We should not allow that to happen to our economy. The first package of 1.7 lakh crores that the government has announced was in a way a welfareist package. The idea was that in India, there are about 40 crore families, 40 crore people who come under the working class. They are lower middle class or poor people. They should not face any problems with respect to their daily bread. So the 1.7 lakh crores that we have spent in the first under the first package was directed at addressing the daily needs of our poor people. That included poor farmers, that included lakhs of migrant workers who were returning to their villages. So we provided them with food, we provided them with gas cylinders, we provided at least 1,500 rupees to women and 1,000 to 5,000 rupees to men. We provided money to old people, elderly people, to disabled people, divyang people. So we have broadly taken care of the welfareist responsibility of the government. But when we came to the second package of 20 lakh crores, this was essentially directed at injecting vigor into our economic system. Pandemic has affected the small, medium industry in a big way. You are all educated people, you are all teachers, professors. Let me tell you, in India, the employment, especially I'm not talking about top-notch employment, higher level employment, but ordinary people, the employment for the ordinary people comes from two different sectors. One is agriculture sector. Agriculture sector provides employment for 44% of our population. Of our employees, they get employment from agriculture sector. And of the remaining employment, employment, 70% comes from MSME sector. I'm talking about the remaining employment. So agriculture and MSMEs are the mainstay for jobs of the ordinary Indians. That's the reason why in the second package, government has turned its attention to reviving the activity in agriculture sector and MSME sector. Because I mentioned to you earlier that of the 8 crore migrant workers, 7 crores have still not left their places. They are still. Why? Number one, Prime Minister appealed to the employers that don't stop salaries. So employers, in spite of facing difficulties, are providing salaries to these people. Secondly, these people are in the hope that very soon their jobs will restart. The companies, the trading, the economic activity that has come to a grinding halt will restart. In that hope, they are waiting. If government doesn't pay attention to that activity, take my words, again remaining 7 crore, if they also start returning to their villages, India would face a serious social problem. That's the reason why government has decided that it is time we turn to that activity which generates jobs again, or which protects jobs, which arrests job losses. That's the reason why we announced 1 lakh crores for farm gate infrastructure. Now, people, if they return to villages, they will find opportunities. They will get a lot of support. You know, if it is a pushcart vendor, he is entitled to 10,000 rupees, a very easy loan on which after 3 months' time, he will only pay 2% interest. Starting from there to MSMEs getting close to 4 lakh crore financial package. Access to easy loans, no guarantee is required. Government is the guarantee. Government will provide the counter guarantee. The idea is that these activities will restart so that loss of employment can be arrested. But then in India, there is a huge need for creating or generating demand also. If there is no demand, what do you do with the industry if there is no consumer? Incidentally, India in itself is the world's largest market next only to China. Indian market is double the size of the European market. Entire Europe put together, compare the size of the European market, India itself is double the size of the European market. For Indian economy to revive, Indian market itself is an important mainstay. That is why Prime Minister has given the call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Please remember, Atmanirbhar Bharat does not mean you shut your doors to outside world. No. But it is a reminder to people of this country that you see, you have such a big market in this country of 600 million, 60 crore middle class. Massive market, massive purchase potential in this country. Who is exploiting that potential? Do you know? Not we Indians, but the Chinese, but the Vietnamese, but the foreign companies. They are exploiting this potential. Fair enough, we are in a globalized world. But why not we also try and exploit the potential for the benefit of our own employees, for our own companies? That's why Prime Minister gave a call that, you know, Indians have to now turn to Indian companies. I can give you some very, eye-opening examples, just one or two. I won't take much of your time. You see, we produce excellent textiles in our country. The jean pants that most of the students wear these days, or even professors wear for that matter. The cloth, the material, the fabric is manufactured in India. But when the lockdown was declared, many of these companies could not convert that jean fabric into a jean pant because in India, we don't produce zippers. Zippers come from abroad. Now tell me, please, that India cannot produce zips for pants? Are we so incapable? No, we never turned our attention to such things. Today in India, we assemble lot of mobile phones in India. India's mobile phone market has grown substantially and today is close to $2.6 billion. Massive, export potential it has. But 90% of the components are imported. We produce pharmaceuticals in India big way, but we import chemicals from outside for those pharmaceuticals. Not that we cannot do. We are not a small, tiny country which has only 10 lakh, 15 lakh population. We are a country with 60 crore market. But we are not actually exploiting this potential. We are not encouraging Indian enterprises to grow. If only we do that. If only we create market within India for Indian producers, any company that establishes its market over 60 crore Indians, take it from me, will become a global brand. Because the so-called big global brands today, none of them have access to this kind of markets. If only you have this kind of market, you will automatically become a global brand. That is Atmanirbhar Bharat. You create more employment for yourself. You create more market for yourself. You create more purchasing for your products. In the process, you create a major global brand. You produce, let the globe consume, let the world consume. Hitherto, it has been reverse. The world produced, we consumed. Even if you consume, the economic activity goes on. The company that is producing will benefit, but the person who is selling it also will benefit. The seller is Indian. He is benefiting. It's good for India. I'm not saying it is not good for India. But do you want just good or the best? If you want the best, you have to turn to this principle of Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbhar means realize the potential of India, the creativity, the genius, the startup potential of India. When we faced this pandemic, we automatically got to know about the potential of our country. When the pandemic happened, this is the last thing that I mentioned and close. When the pandemic happened, why Prime Minister decided that there is no other option but to shut down the entire country. One of the reasons was our healthcare establishment was not equipped enough to tackle this pandemic. We did not have testing kits. We did not have PPEs for our doctors. We were not producing a single personal protection equipment in India. PPE there is no technology involved in it. Any tailor can make it, but we were not producing. We were importing simply from outside. That's what I said. We were not even producing enough gloves for the doctors and healthcare workers to wear. We were not producing masks. Vietnam had donated so many millions of masks to India. Vietnam, a small country of 60 million people, 6 crore people, was donating masks to India. This was the state of affairs. That's why Prime Minister decided we are in such an ill-prepared situation. If we don't lock down immediately, 130 crore Indians will be under threat. Because if the virus spreads, you don't have hospitals. Even if you have hospitals, you don't have PPEs, you don't have kits, you don't have gloves, you don't have masks. The immediate lockdown has helped in containing the virus. In the meantime, it's so surprising that today, in just 2 months' time, we are producing all these things indigenously. We are not servicing the Indian requirement alone. We are today exporting the very same things. Why a pandemic had to come for our industry to produce PPEs? Why not we do it ourselves in normal times? That is what is Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now pandemic will go, but seize the opportunity. You have the potential. You have the market in your own country. Produce it. If you cater to Indian market, you are a global player, because the Indian market is the biggest market in the world. So we are now committed to pursuing this agenda of Atmanirbhar Bharat, where Indian potential will be exploited to cater to Indian market, but also to create global brands. That is the Atmanirbhar Bharat. In the process, we are going towards achieving that objective of $5 trillion economy. I know some people today make fun of this statement of Prime Minister. They today ask, where is your $5 trillion economy? Today your GDP is in negative terms. Let me tell those people that $5 trillion economy is going to be achieved by the people of this country. India's inherent potential will take this country automatically to $5 trillion economy. The only issue is whether, as Prime Minister Modi had envisaged, whether we would be able to achieve it by 2024, or because of this pandemic, that goal, that achievement of that goal will be delayed by a few months or a few quarters. Our effort will be that there won't be much delay. If not in 24, by 25, we should be able to achieve that $5 trillion economy. And once we hit the $5 trillion economy, take it from me, by 2030, India will be a $10 trillion economy. And you may ask, why are you talking about 2030? Because I am confident that until 2035 or so, it's going to be we only leading the country and leading the economy. I end there. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and namaskar.
Thank you, sir. You have enlightened us on different aspects. Now we are happy to launch our towards Better India website by the Ram Madhavji in the presence of August dignitaries. So thank you. Now, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Ramana Rauji to speak, because we have more than 20 vice chancellors and more than 10 directors from the centrally funding institution. So I request everyone to conclude in a minute. Ramana Rauji.
Kindly unmute, yeah.
Yes.
So thank you, Venkat Krishna. Thank you, Ramaji. Namaskar. At the outset, let me thank you for nicely compiling the whole situation. And we all very strongly believe that today we are having the best of the leadership to face any sort of crisis. And as you rightly pointed out, we have proved ourselves in different situations that we can rely on ourselves. The PP is a very good example. Today we are producing almost 1 lakh PPs per day. So that is the amount of strength that we have. But as a strategy, we should first and foremost identify and lower imports, because what are the things that we import if you identify? Like I pointed out, that chemicals, these things. So let us first step will be to identify and lower these imports. In fact, totally eliminate these imports and find a local replacement. We have vocal for local, another important thing. So the idea is to cut down dependence on reliance of imports from one country while encouraging local manufacturing. That is the first thing which I would like to. And then we are very strong in organic farming, which holds a huge demand, and it will help our farmers, especially increasing production of crops like maize and corn. It can help in food security as well as making ethanol, which can be used to blend with oil and to cut other things. Other strong areas where India is very strong and can become Atmanirbhar is the agrochemicals, the pharmas, and the active pharma ingredients. And I would like to tell you, sir, that the Prime Minister vision of 5 I's, intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation itself are of most importance to make India a self-reliant. In this connection, the institutes, the higher technical institutes, will have to bridge the gap between theory and practice. And most of these institutes have these innovation cells, startup cells, and incubation centers, which should be available to industry to experiment their ideas. And there should be a strong nexus between industry and institute. And we have to strengthen these cells. And with these few words, since I have many things to speak, but I thought I will complete it. But I would just like to conclude with saying that India has advantage. We have youth on our side. Knowledge, technology, and innovation is the key to us. And I'm sure we will become very soon Atmanirbhar under the great leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Kuldeep Agnihotri ji. He is the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Himachal Pradesh. Kuldeep ji, please unmute yourself. Kuldeep ji.
नमस्कार नमस्कार आ रही है आवाज मेरी?
Yes,
हेलो
yes जी,
जी, आ रही है।
hear you.
अच्छा ठीक ठीक ठीक
Please
प्रिय मित्रों, हाँ ठीक ठीक प्रिय मित्रों, बहुत ही अच्छे ढंग से राम माधव जी ने स्थितियों का एक प्रकार से विवरण दिया है। मैं एक बात ऐड करना चाहूंगा। गुरुवाणी में एक लाइन आती है, गुरुवाणी जाने जो सप्त सिंधु क्षेत्र में 10 गुरु परंपरा शुरू हुई थी, तो उस गुरुवाणी में एक लाइन आती है, मन जीते जग जीत। यदि मन को जीत लिया जाए तो जग को जीता जा सकता है। सबसे बड़ी जो जरूरत हिंदुस्तान में है, आत्म संकल्प और आत्मविश्वास की कि हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं। अभी तक जो पिछले 7 दशकों से चला हुआ था, उसमें आत्मविश्वास और आत्म संकल्प की कमी थी। उसका कारण था जो नेतृत्व कर रहे थे, उनका शायद अपना ही आत्मविश्वास कहीं न कहीं डगमगा रहा था कि क्या हम इस स्थिति में पहुंच सकते हैं कि हम आत्मनिर्भर बन सके और आगे आत्मनिर्भर से भी विश्व में अपना सार्थक रोल अदा कर सके। मैं समझता हूं वर्तमान सरकार ने, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने उस आत्म संकल्प को दोबारा पैदा किया है और भारतीय जनता में एक आत्मविश्वास जागृत किया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि इस आत्मविश्वास के बल पर हमारा देश आत्मनिर्भर होगा और यहाँ का जो प्रोडक्ट है हर क्षेत्र में, केवल इंडस्ट्री का प्रोडक्ट या दैनिक जीवन उपयोगी वस्तुओं की बात नहीं है, हर क्षेत्र में हम आत्मनिर्भर बनेंगे। इसका एक छोटी सी बात मैं और स्पष्ट करना चाहूंगा। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का जिस प्रकार आम जनता के साथ संवाद बढ़ा है, शायद इतिहास में पहली बार हुआ है कि किसी प्रधानमंत्री का जनता के साथ सीधा संवाद है और विश्वसनीयता बढ़ी है। इसलिए मोदी जी जो कहते हैं उसको भारत के करोड़ों लोग सुनते हुए उसके अनुसार चलने का प्रयास करते हैं, खास करके गांवों में। मैंने इसको अनुभव किया है कि मोदी जी जब आम जनता से संवाद करते हैं तो गांवों में जो प्रेरणा पैदा होती है, लोकल प्रोडक्ट की बात है, लोगों में विश्वास आता है, लोकल प्रोडक्ट को ब्रांड बनाने की बात है, उसको एक प्रकार से ज्यादा लोग खरीदें, उसकी क्वालिटी बढ़े, इसकी बात है। तो आम देश की जनता जब इसमें जुटेगी तो प्रिय मित्रों, मुझे लगता है पूरा विश्वास है कि हम आत्मनिर्भर भी होंगे और विश्व को इस संकट काल में, राम माधव जी ने बड़ा अच्छा समझाया, इस संकट काल में जो हमने किया है और इतने बड़े विश्व में भारत की जो स्थिति है कोविड-19 में भी हमारी स्थिति में समझ तो बहुत से देशों से बेहतर है। लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से ऐसी कुछ लोग जिनका इस देश की मिट्टी से, इस देश के हेरिटेज से टूट चुके हैं, जो निराशावादी हो चुके हैं, जब देश इस प्रकार से आत्मविश्वास से आगे बढ़ रहा है तो उनको ताज्जुब होता है। इसलिए प्रिय मित्रों, जो निराशा के स्वर हैं मैं समझता हूं बहुत कम हैं और जो विश्वास और संकल्प के स्वर हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा हैं। मैं बहुत लंबी बात न कहता हुआ, भारत में इतनी ताकत है, भारत में इतनी आंतरिक शक्ति है, यहाँ लोगों में इतना दमखम और ऊर्जा है कि यदि हम संकल्प के साथ बढ़ेंगे तो हम इसमें निश्चय ही विजय भी प्राप्त करेंगे और विश्व का आगे मार्गदर्शन भी करेंगे। विश्व में हमारी we will be agenda setter in the world, not we will be follower in the world। हम पिछलग्गू नहीं होंगे, अभी तक हम पिछलग्गू थे। इसलिए प्रिय मित्रों, इतनी बड़ी मार्केट है, इतना बड़ा बाजार है हमारा, उस बाजार में हमारा अपना भी स्थान बढ़े और उस बाजार में हम एक प्रकार से नीति नियंत्रक हों। मुझे लगता है ये जो संकल्प दोहराया गया है, जो मोदी जी ने जो संकल्प लिया है, इसकी अवश्य पूर्ति होगी और इसमें हमें सफलता मिलेगी। जब अमेरिका ने वो सुपर कंप्यूटर देने से इनकार कर दिया था, संकट आया था, तो परम कंप्यूटर हिंदुस्तान में बन गया था। पीपीई किट्स नहीं थी, संकट आया तो पीपीई किट्स अब इतनी बन रही है कि हम दूसरों को भी देने के मिशन में हैं। संकट काल में हिंदुस्तान की आंतरिक ऊर्जा सदा ही प्रकट हुई है और मुझे लगता है इस बार फिर इस संकट काल में, जैसे मोदी जी ने कहा कि हर जो संकट है उसको अपॉर्चुनिटी में बदला जा सकता है, हम उसी दिशा की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Ji. Now I request Manoj Dikshit Ji. He is the Vice Chancellor of Ram Manohar Lohia University in Ayodhya. Sir, you please unmute yourself. Manoj Dikshit Ji. Dikshit Ji, are you there? Sir, you please unmute yourself. Okay.
Get host, you can unmute also.
Sir, it is showing them. Ask to unmute, sir.
Yeah, you can unmute them. Host can unmute them. Yeah.
No, sir, it is showing anyway. Ask to unmute, sir. Okay. Now I request another Vice Chancellor, Prakash Tripathi Ji. He is the Vice Chancellor of IGNTU. He is not there. Okay. So now I request S.K. Rao Ji. He is the Vice Chancellor of the Agricultural University in Madhya Pradesh. Sir, please conclude in a minute. S.K. Rao Ji.
Yeah. Ram Madhav Ji, that you have given a very good information on this Atmanirbhar Bharat. And as you know that we have a very strong food security systems in our country and having the surplus production in 10 commodities. And we had a lot of scope for the export of these commodities to the demanding countries. That is not is being happening. It is to be done. Unless you don't go for the surplus exposed to the importing countries, you cannot pass on the benefit to the farming communities. Now the major task before the farmers is that how to retain the farmers in the agricultural sector. That is the big thing. The farmers is increasing. Youth is not interested to stay in the rural areas and they don't want to go for the farming. Under those situations, who will do the farming? Who will assure the food security for our country? We talk about Atmanirbhar. We are already in Atmanirbhar. We can strengthen this activity if we can go for certain modifications. But unless you attract the youth for farming, it is very difficult to build the future food security systems in our country. That is one thing. As you rightly said, our country is a major producer, major consumer, and major exporter. The pulses is one example. 90% of the pulses are produced in India, consumed in India, and globally we will be supplying the pulses also. And in this way, there are several commodities. This country can have a captive advantage of exporting to the different countries and we can make it as a very big economy. Our farm holding itself is a small economies. The cumulative effect of the small economies can become a very big economy. The main reason is that our economy is the most stabilized economy because they are agricultural-based small economies. They affected the adverse conditions that we have seen in the COVID-19. And with these few words, sir, I thank that you have given a very good rely on the value chains development produce. Focus on that investments, definitely this country can go up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Prakash ji, he is the Vice Chancellor of the IGNTU. Sir, please conclude in a minute. Prakash ji, you please unmute, sir. Again, you muted it.
माननीय हमारे कुलपति मित्रगण और जो भी प्रतिभाग कर रहे हैं, नमस्कार। मैं श्री प्रकाश मणि त्रिपाठी अमरकंटक से। श्री राम माधव जी ने अभी बहुत विस्तृत, बृहद और व्यापक रूप से वर्तमान स्थिति और भारत की संभावना आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर बढ़ते कदम के बारे में प्रकाश डाला। और अभी हमारे मित्र अग्निहोत्री जी बोल रहे थे, मूल भाव ये है कि भारत तो कृषि और कृषि परंपरा का देश है, जहां कृषि क्षेत्र में रोजगार और उत्पादन के अवसर बहुत ज्यादा हैं। और इसी परंपरा से हम उद्योग, आस्थान, औद्योगिकता, इस पर बल देते हैं। प्रयोगशाला से लेकर के और क्षेत्र तक पहुंचने की बात करते हैं, फ्रॉम लैब टू लैंड। और इस क्रम में हमें आगे बढ़ना है। इसीलिए हमारे देश में टैलेंट, टेक्नोलॉजी का समावेश और समावेशन होता है। और माननीय मोदी जी, हम लोगों का सौभाग्य है कि उनके जैसा महानायक आज हिंदुस्तान का प्रधानमंत्री है, जो न केवल हमारे देश को प्रगति पथ पर आगे ले चल रहे हैं, अब दुनिया के लिए भी संभावना और सुरक्षा के लिए सबसे प्रमुख आकर्षक व्यक्तित्व हैं। अभी बहुत सारी चीजों पर हम लोगों ने चर्चा कर ली, लेकिन आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर जो 9 शब्दों की सीढ़ी है, उस पर हमें विशेष ध्यान रखना है, जिसके बारे में माननीय मोदी जी ने कहा, लैंड, लेबर, लिबर्टी एंड लॉ, और साथ ही इकोनॉमी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, सिस्टम, डेमोग्राफी एंड डिमांड, जिसके बारे में भी हम लोग चर्चा कर रहे थे। तो उत्पादन के साथ ही उसके लिए मांग उठे। हिंदुस्तान में बहुत ज्यादा इनोवेशन की संभावनाएं हैं। अब बहुत ज्यादा निवेश भी होना है हिंदुस्तान में। हमारे यहाँ जो कामगार वापस लौटे हैं, उनके लिए आंचलिक स्तर पर संभावनाओं की तलाश करनी है। इसीलिए मोदी जी का मंत्र लोकल के लिए वोकल होना और लोकल को ग्लोबल बनाना आज के संदर्भ में बहुत मायने रखता है। मेरा विश्वविद्यालय जिस अंचल में है, इसे जनजातीय अंचल कहते हैं। यहाँ वनौषधियां बहुत हैं, वनोपज बहुत है, विशेष प्रकार की कृषि संपदा है। हमारा विश्वविद्यालय खुद ही अमरकंटक कोदो का उत्पादन करता है, एक ब्रांडिंग है। और आज के दौर में इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने वाले अन्न में सांवा, तागुन, मड़ुआ, कोदो का विशेष स्थान है, जिसमें हम कोदो की ब्रांडिंग स्वयं करते हैं। हमारे क्षेत्र में बहुत ज्यादा शहद होती है, अमरकंटक शहद के नाम से हम ब्रांडिंग करते हैं और वैश्विक स्तर पर इसकी पहचान स्थापित है। इसी तरह से लाख है, रेशम है। हर अंचल में कुछ खास वस्तुएं होती हैं, जिनके आधार पर स्थानीय स्तर पर हम छोटे छोटे उद्योग खोल सकते हैं, स्किल डेवलपमेंट के माध्यम से, स्टार्टअप के माध्यम से और लघु सूक्ष्म मध्यम उद्योग के साथ ही साथ हम बृहद उद्योग भी स्थापित कर सकते हैं। हमारे क्षेत्र में एक जनजाति है अगरिया, तो जमीन पर हाथ फेर कर बता सकते हैं कि इसमें लोहा है कि नहीं है। वो लोग बहुत सस्ते में जंग मुक्त लोहा का उत्पादन करते हैं। इसी तरह इस देश के हर अंचल में ज्ञान परंपरा है, कौशल है, उसका उपयोग करने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि आत्मनिर्भरता का अर्थ तो यही हुआ कि रोजगार के अवसर हम उत्पन्न करें और आय के स्रोत बढ़ाएं। वस्तुतः हमारे यहाँ आय और आजीविका ये दोनों मिलकर बनते हैं आत्मनिर्भर भारत, और इस दिशा में हम बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। शिक्षा के माध्यम से, रोजगार के माध्यम से, व्यापार के माध्यम से। आर्थिक स्थिति सुदृढ़ करने में विचार, व्यवहार, व्यापार और बाजार, इसका बहुत ज्यादा योगदान होता है। विचार को हम कार्य रूप में लाते हैं और फिर इसके माध्यम से उद्यम करते हैं, उत्पादन बढ़ता है और फिर इस उत्पादन के लिए बाजार चाहिए, बाजार के बाद विपणन चाहिए, अर्थात उत्पादन और निर्यात ये हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था का प्रमुख आधार बनने वाला है। जो बाहर से आए हुए कामगार हैं उनके लिए आंचलिक क्षेत्रों में रोजगार के अवसर अब सृजित हो रहे हैं। महानगरों में, मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटीज में तब नए सिरे से व्यवस्था होगी। आत्मनिर्भरता में एक संकल्प और जोड़ना पड़ेगा। महानगरों के विकास के साथ, औद्योगिक आस्थानों में उत्पादन वृद्धि के साथ जो कामगार, अभियंता अथवा चिकित्सक वहां जाते हैं उनके लिए भी एक सामाजिक व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए कि कभी कोई अन्यथा स्थिति उत्पन्न हो तो उनके लिए भी साल भर 5 साल के लिए एक सम्यक सुरक्षा की गारंटी हो। अब इस पर हमारी सरकार काम भी कर रही है। इस मामले में हम सबसे आगे हैं। आने वाले दिनों में औषधि के क्षेत्र में रोजगार के अवसर बढ़ने वाले हैं और आज हिंदुस्तान दुनिया का बेहतरीन वेंटिलेटर बनाने वाला देश है, पीपीई किट बनाने वाला देश है। तो इस संदर्भ में औषध भी बनाने वाला देश है। अभी हमारे यहाँ से सबसे ज्यादा औषध का निर्यात हुआ है। इन क्षेत्रों पर हम निश्चित रूप से बहुत ज्यादा बल देने वाले हैं। औषध उद्योग में, पर्यटन में, वस्त्र उद्योग की बात माननीय राम माधव जी ने किया ही। इस्पात उद्योग में भी हमारी संभावनाएं हैं, लेकिन सबसे बड़ी संभावना कृषि क्षेत्र में है। हमारे यहाँ का जो उपज होगा वह दुनिया के लिए मानक उपज होगा। वनौषधियों से भी हम वैकल्पिक आहार की संभावनाओं पर तलाश कर सकते हैं, कंद मूल लेकर के। और आज के दौर में इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है, इसलिए वनौषधियों का प्रयोग, उससे संबंधित उद्योग और उसमें लगने वाले लोग ये मायने रखेंगे। इस दृष्टि से हम भारत को निश्चित रूप से आत्मनिर्भर भारत के रूप में देखेंगे और दुनिया को नई दिशा दे सकेंगे माननीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में। आप सभी ने ध्यानपूर्वक सुना, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Now I request Gopal Mugeraya ji. He is the director of NIT Goa. Please conclude in a minute, sir. We are running short of time.
Yeah.
Still many people.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. You are muted yourself, sir. Ah, yes.
You can hear me?
Ah, yes, yes. No.
Pranam Ram Madhav ji. I am Dr. Gopal Mugeraya, Director NIT Goa. I'll take a minute. Education sector is one of the very important sector where we have to address in this situation. They said in the Purana that if you want to attack a country, you need not use any army force. Just dilute the education standard. So if you strengthen the education, you'll be winning the race. One more very important thing, I've been a teacher for last 34 years. I find that we talk about excellence in education, but we don't talk about relevance of education. The skill component is missing, sir. As rightly said, Savidhyaya Vimuktaye. Whatever the education we impart, should हमको बंधन से विमुक्त करना है students को. So we should include the skill component in our education is very important. Higher education or lower education. Otherwise, if you don't skill your youth, you'll be killing your youth. With these few words, I once again say that all of us should work for the education, which is the strength of our Bharat Desh. Namaskar, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Uma Maheshwar Rao ji. He is the director of NIT Surathkal to conclude in a minute.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah. Namaskar, Ram Madhav ji. This is Uma Maheshwar Rao, Director NIT Surathkal. I will just take only less than a minute. I just only have only one point, further extending Gopal Mugeraya's the statement that let us, it's a long time ago, we have realized that employability of our skilled manpower, particularly the engineering graduates, is very less. And therefore, we have got to really realize that particular factor. And then if we have got to make self-reliant India, there is a greater role for the teachers to play, to teach the students to be responsible and realize the responsibility which is rested on them to build the nation into a self-reliant India. Towards that one, skill development is one, and then asking them to be more responsible for tomorrow, and because the nation belongs to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Meena Hariharanji to conclude in a minute.
Thank you. Namaste, Ramadhavji. It was an excellent and comprehensive presentation by you. I have just 2 points to make. So we all have been talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India, and this requires 2 types of management. One is macro level management, which involves political will and availability of economic resources. And the second part of it is actually micro level management, which is at individual stage. So when we are talking about, India evolving resilient and India evolving as self-reliant by 2025, I was very happy to have a target of 5 years to come as resilient and self-reliant. So if this has to be hastened, I think we need to work in a multidisciplinary team. So the multidisciplinary team, I feel that there should be more resources to be used from university sector. You have economists, political scientists, sociologists, psychologists, and many people who are doing practical research. So taking inputs from the universities is the first step. Second part, I'm coming to the micromanagement of it, and there is no dearth of political will. I'm not going into macro management because political will and economic resources are provided by the government. But what is necessary is the micromanagement at individual level. When we are talking about individual level, in order to come up with innovative ideas, we need a few characteristics. I'm very happy that Professor Agnihotri mentioned about Atma Vishwas. So being a student of psychology, I would say that there are certain aspects which are very essential. One is self-efficacy. Second one is perceptual discretion among people. And the third aspect is hardiness personality. And the fourth one is creativity. So we need to promote these aspects in the people in general at different sectors. For this, you need the intervention of university sector.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, madam. Thank you. Now I request MLB Bhatt. He is a Vice Chancellor of King George Medical University, Lucknow. Bhattji, please conclude in a minute.
Thank you. आदरणीय श्री राम माधव जी एवं आज इस वेब मीटिंग में उपस्थित सभी गणमान्य वाइस चांसलर्स और अन्य एकेडमिशियंस, आज इस विषय पर आत्मनिर्भर भारत विषय पर बहुत ही पहलुओं पर प्रकाश डाला गया। मैं शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य दोनों से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ, मेडिकल यूनिवर्सिटी में यहाँ लखनऊ में कार्यरत हूँ। तो स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से हेल्थ वेलनेस सेंटर जो भारत सरकार ने बनाने के लिए प्राइम मिनिस्टर आयुष्मान भारत योजना जो शुरू की गई है, वो एक कॉन्सेप्ट था, इस समय फोर फ्रंट पे पूरे विश्व के सामने आ गया है। कोरोना जैसी महामारी में ये देखा जा रहा है कि आपकी अपनी इम्यूनिटी ही आपका रक्षा कवच है और इसको ठीक करना आवश्यक है, और ये स्वस्थ जीवन शैली के माध्यम से ही संभव होगा और जिस पे पूरा विश्व विचार कर रहा है। और दूसरा एक महत्वपूर्ण बिंदु जो सामने आया है कि भारत की जो प्राचीन चिकित्सा पद्धति आयुर्वेद थी, इसकी तमाम मान्यताओं को पूरा विश्व का आधुनिक विश्व, वैज्ञानिकता के आधार पर चलने वाला विश्व इस मान्यता को मान करके अपने जीवन रक्षक प्रणाली के रूप में इसको प्रयोग कर रहा है। कोरोना बीमारी ने भारत को अन्य क्षेत्रों में भले आत्मनिर्भर न किया हो, लेकिन स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से निश्चित रूप से आत्मनिर्भर बनने की दिशा में अग्रसर कर दिया है और निश्चित रूप से भविष्य में ये पूरा प्राप्त हो जाएगा। पीपीई किट जैसा बताया राम माधव जी ने, कि पूरे देश में एक भी नहीं बनता था, आज 3 लाख प्रतिदिन बन रहा है, सैनिटाइजर बन रहा है, वेंटिलेटर बन रहा है, और हम लोग यहाँ तक कि फर्नीचर और बेड तक इंपोर्ट करते थे, ओटी की लाइट भी इंपोर्ट करते थे। अब ये सब चीजें हमारे देश में बनने लगी हैं। तो स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से हमारा देश, लेकिन इसमें माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कहा है कि हर जिले में एक इन्फेक्शियस डिजीज हॉस्पिटल होना चाहिए, डायग्नोस्टिक फैसिलिटी हर जिले के साथ ही साथ ब्लॉक लेवल तक पहुंचनी चाहिए, और जिसका नितांत अभाव था। केवल एक बात बता के इस बात को समाप्त मैं करूंगा कि पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश और उत्तराखंड 2 प्रांतों के लिए केवल किंग जॉर्ज चिकित्सा विश्वविद्यालय आरंभिक एपिडेमिक में कोरोना की जांच के लिए ICMR द्वारा प्रमाणित था। अब इस समय कम से कम 50 लैब्स कार्य कर रही हैं। तो इतने 3 महीने में 50-60 लैब का काम करना और भविष्य में हर जिले और हर ब्लॉक में पहुंचने की जो संभावना है वो वास्तव में रियलाइज होगा। और शिक्षा की दृष्टि से भी हमें जो अपना नई शिक्षा नीति आई है उसको हमें लाना है। और शिक्षा जगत को इस समय हम लोग जो तमाम कंटेंट की बात कर रहे हैं वो शिक्षा का वास्तव में इस समय सही प्रयोग हो सकता था यदि पूरे देश को स्वस्थ जीवन शैली के रास्ते पर चलने के लिए, क्या स्वस्थ जीवन शैली है, कैसे हम योगा, प्राणायाम, व्यायाम को इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने के लिए हर्ब्स और अपने मसालों का प्रयोग कर सकते हैं, घरेलू चिकित्सा पद्धति के बारे में एजुकेट करने का ये स्वर्णिम अवसर था। इसमें प्रयास हो रहे हैं पूरे चिकित्सा जगत को छात्रों के माध्यम से पूरे समाज को इस समय शिक्षित कर देना है, क्योंकि एक स्वस्थ भारत ही समर्थ भारत बनेगा। और इसलिए स्वास्थ्य जो सबसे आवश्यक चीज है, उस दिशा में कार्य करने का एक स्वर्णिम अवसर मिला है और उसका हम लोग तो फायदा उठा रहे हैं, लेकिन पूरे देश को इसमें समेकित रूप से कार्य करना है, क्योंकि तभी हम एक समर्थ राष्ट्र के रूप में उभर पाएंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor S. Srinivasa Kumar. He is the Vice Chancellor of JNTU Anantapur. Srinivasa Kumar ji, please conclude in a minute. We are really running short of time. Still,
Srinivasa Kumar Ramaduji, namaste. I am basically Professor of Electronics and Communication Engineering from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Kakinada, on deputation to JNTU Anantapur as a Vice Chancellor. Sir, I would like to just put my idea before the team of the people, experts who are available here. Sir, today if we see the GDP, 17% is contributed by the agriculture sector, service sector is around 53%, and the industry sector is around 29%. Thereby, 70% of the population in the country is contributing only 17% GDP. And it is not an acceptable percentage. The reason is 70% of the population is contributing only 17%. Thereby, in your discussion or your presentation, you are mentioning something about the MSMEs and the agriculture sector. I feel that these two must be integrated. Whatever the food processing industries which are available, they should be integrated with the food producers. And that is, let us say the banana trunk is there. The banana trunk is to be processed to get the fiber, and from the fiber, it is to be given to the textile industries to produce the yarn. So why not we think of having a machines that can produce the fiber from the banana tree and give it to the industry, so that the income of the farmers can be increased. And similarly, for the turmeric leaves, we can produce many pharmaceutical products. Thereby, the farmers' income can be increased. So there is a need to increase the farmers' income. Thereby, the role of the farmers in the GDP is to be increased. This is one point which I would like to present before you. That is, there should be an integrating the MSMEs along with the farmers who are producing the products.
Yes, sir.
Not the final products, the raw products.
Yes,
the second point is about the land bank. The land bank is to be created. If the land bank is created, so much uncultivated land can become a part of the land bank and they can be cultivated. So these 2 points I would like to present before you. I request you to look into the matter and see that the farmers' income is to raise, and it should be at least doubled or tripled by integrating the MSMEs with the food producers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Sasmita Samanta. He is a Vice Chancellor of KIIT Orissa. Sasmita ji, you please conclude in a minute, less than a minute. We are really running short of time.
Yes. Most Honorable Sri Ram Madhav ji and all the dignitaries present here. regarding the self-reliance Bharat, I would like to say that just before few days I had written a blog on designing a conscious society, where I have mentioned that because of the proper strategy of central leadership, proper execution plan, and cooperation between the central leadership and community leadership, the whole 1.3 billion people of this country could get the confidence, and they respected the strategy. And while they followed the strategy and the execution plan in a very meticulous way, then a proper conscious society was designed by the national leadership. And because of that, today this country is very much proud that it was least affected by the pandemic. Of course, the number is increasing after the unlocking of the system. Maybe it was expected by the leadership, but within these 2 months, the whole 1.3 billion people has been educated properly by the national leadership. That means today, those 1.3 billion people or our society is conscious enough to follow the strategy and the direction given by the national leadership, where the confidence and the respect is, if the confidence and respect is there. And today when Honorable Prime Minister is focusing on self-reliance Bharat, I think that if same strategy will be implemented, where the communication will be from the highest leadership of the nation, and the people will be having the same confidence and respect, surely we will be achieving the self-reliance Bharat within a very limited time. I am also writing a project on self-reliance of panchayat. I have taken 5 panchayat of one district. Yes. And my focus is through 3 panchayat. My focus is on organic farming and mechanical farming. And in 2 districts, it is on tourism and travel and tourism. And I hope that if the leadership is giving proper direction, and I think today also this country is having that much of sensitivity and that much of consciousness to follow the direction and to get the success. Thanks to Ram Mohan Ji, I think that level of consciousness is being cultivated and being generated among the people, as such we all can get the success. Yes. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, madam. Now I request Ram Madhav Ji to give concluding remarks.
Thank you. I mean, there are several valuable suggestions coming from all of you. I can only tell you that some of them have already been in the pipeline with the government. Some new, I have noted down several of your suggestions, and I will certainly pass on the suggestions to the people concerned. Thank you all for joining in this interaction. We keep meeting again. Let us see when is going to be the next opportunity. Thank you all and namaskar.
Sir, now I request Professor J.P. Dubey Ji to give vote of thanks in a minute. 30 seconds. Sir, your voice is not audible.
Thank you. Are you getting?
Yes, sir. Please conclude in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. We had a privilege of having a very powerful signature presentation from Ram Madhav Ji. This presentation was comprising of 3 components. One, what was the rationale? Why did the government of India or the Prime Minister went for this lockdown period? And what followed next? What followed next was in 2 parts. One was the behavioral issues. In the first part, how the leadership was able to create self-confidence among the people, and people's belief in the system. That system can withstand such pressures. That was the one major achievement of the total presentation, that what I could get in. The second portion was that how, after this having lockdown and creating an atmosphere of the trust and faith in the minds of the people, government started working on those lines. What were these lines? One was the displacement of the labor, and he has very clearly demarcated that out of the 8 crore people, workers, 7 crore people were still stuck at the places of their work, and for the remaining 1 crore people, a lot of work is being done. Sir, it has been a fantastic presentation, and we are all very thankful to you that you made a very good presentation, and that elicited almost 12 observations and questions. Thank you very much for permitting us to be part of it.
Sir, thank you, sir. My sincere apologies to some other Vice Chancellor and Directors of IITs and IIITs centrally funded institute. Because Ram Madhav ji has another urgent meeting. We reduced the duration of the meeting. We will have another session with Ram Madhav ji soon, and hope we will have a interaction. The people who missed it. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Ram Madhav ji, for giving time to us. Thank you very much.
Madhav, namaskar.